Hello loves, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about Jupiter going into Gemini. We have so much to discuss. Okay, this is happening on May 25th till June 9th 2025. So as always, Jupiter is the planet that basically sets the theme for the year, because it takes about a year and some change to move from sign to sign. It will be going retrograde October 9th through February 4th. So that's when it will be a retrograde in Gemini. So also keep that in mind. We have to talk about all of the things because it's going to be a very, very year. All right. Now, the first kind of elephant in the room that we do have to get out of the way is that Jupiter is in Gemini is in detriment, which basically means that it's opposite to Sagittarius because Jupiter rules Sagittarius. And so it's technically less considered not to be as powerful in Gemini. However, this year is definitely going to be something. And the reason why I say this is because Gemini energy and Jupiter energy as well, you're still getting what Jupiter does, right? Jupiter is the one that expands everything. So Jupiter, let's just breaking down planets real quick. Jupiter rules expansion, luck, abundance, opportunity, education, travel, philosophy, knowledge, okay, what you know, what you understand, right? In Gemini, which is the sign that rules over your consciousness, your mind, what you know, right? What you're thinking about. It is the messenger sign, so it's all about communication. Okay, so there's definitely a way where Jupiter and Gemini, especially because Gemini is also the fastest moving sign, being that it is an air sign, mutable sign. It is meant to be quick, okay, to the point, direct. It's definitely going to be able to tap into some of the areas where Jupiter rules, even though it's still not, it's like, I feel like depending on where Jupiter is, like obviously when Jupiter moves into Cancer next year, it's going to be real loud because it is exalted in Cancer, right? So it's definitely going to be a very powerful year, especially spiritually. We'll talk about that next year. We're not talking about this year. We're talking about, okay, but because it is in detriment, it's technically considered less powerful. However, I do think that it's still going to be a very powerful year when it comes to communication, especially when it comes to how we interact collectively. One of the things that I do like to point out when it comes to Jupiter, because Jupiter is the planet that expands, right? Expansion. Jupiter can expand both positive and negative things. I'm going to say it again because a lot of people like to just hear the, oh, abundance and luck, and they don't hear the expansion part. Okay. Jupiter can expand positive and negative things. Okay. Now, one of the things that I will say, because Gemini is a mercurial sign, it's ruled by Mercury, you might notice that during Mercury retrograde, specifically throughout the rest of the year, okay, things are a little bit more intense than usual because it can expand positive and negative things. And so you best believe that Gemini energy at its best, at its worst, at its center, at its like in the middle, you're going to be seeing chaos on both sides. There will be miscommunication, okay, because again, positive and negative things. So it's so for some people it might literally feel like a really long ass Mercury retrograde. And I hate to say it, but we just gonna keep it a hundo, okay? It might just feel like a really long ass Mercury retrograde, okay? It might feel like, you know, mentally there's a lot going on. You might feel a lot like up here, like, oh my god, I'm being pulled in different directions. I'm trying to understand X, Y, Z, and B. Like I'm just like, you know, or certain things are just coming through. I will definitely say that when it comes to those who are trying to develop their own psychic abilities, their clairs, you might be channeling a lot this year. certain things might come through in different ways, so be very mindful of messages coming through in different ways. Okay, think about that expansion. Like, let's say you're really good at like tarot reading. Like, that's how you prefer, that's your method of like preferred channeling, right? And then all of a sudden you're getting all of these other ways, like other ways activated, communication activated. All of a sudden you're getting like animals at your window, right? All of a sudden you're getting like, you're hearing voices or something, and which is like, I know that one's a little creepy, but that it does occur. Or like your dreams are just like brrr, like raining messages. Like every single time you sleep, you just, it's coming through. All of a sudden, all of the ways of communication just feel like they're open. Instead of you being very grounded in one thing, all of a sudden you're like, wait, but what does that mean? And oh my God, but I keep seeing this and blah, blah. Expansion. Be very mindful. And don't try to limit yourself. This is another thing that I will say for Jupiter being in Gemini. Don't try to limit yourself. Do not try to put yourself in a box as to what you can and will experience, because that's not what Gemini do. Gemini energy is about being present in the moment, okay? They're all about consciousness in the moment. What do you know? What's coming through right now, right? So you have to be present, and you have to allow yourself to be present throughout this specific transit, because it's going to be very consciously in the moment. You're going to be receiving a lot of things in the moment, and it might trip you up a little bit. You might even get a little scared. It might be like, oh, whoa, wait, all of a sudden, all at once, or I just had all of these realizations at once. I highly recommend therapy this particular year more than ever before. Please go get therapy. For those who need it, go get it, because it's going to be like fluid. It's like a fluidity. It's like okay. It's really, really, really important to allow yourself to process things, like slow down. Don't like get yourself overwhelmed, because Gemini energy can sometimes be like a lot at once. So you do have to kind of pace yourself as you are in the moment. Some moments can be very intense. So you have to obviously, like, you know, take it as slow as you need to, but it is really important to also understand and be open to the fact that you're going to be a little bit more heightened. Your consciousness is going to be a little bit more heightened, because Jupiter is going to expand everything. And again, it works to your benefit. We're still going to be tapping into the energy of luck. We're still going to be tapping into the energy of like education and philosophy. You might have a lot of clearer understandings. You might come out of this year, okay, feeling way more clear than you have ever in your life. Like, you just feel like so like, oh my God. You might literally feel so centered coming out of this year, because it's just one of those things where it's like, wow, like I can see things so much clearly. Like I can understand. I finally understand that thing. Like certain things might just like the mystery of the thing. It's just, it comes into your consciousness, and you'll be able to like see through the thing. So be open to the different ways that messages come through. I would highly recommend, listen, okay, just tips wise, this is the year for affirmations. I cannot stress that enough, especially if you're trying to tap into the luck and manifestation energy of Gemini, because Gemini is a manifesting sign. Okay, I really recommend affirmations. I really recommend any type of journaling, scripting, any type of, like, even if you're doing bibliomancy for divination, open yourself up to different ways to get messages, but also open yourself up to different ways that things can come through. Also, working with the air element is essential. Please, for the love of God, do not do that thing where you block your own blessings with your mouth. Your mouth is going to be your biggest like weapon this year. If you sit there and be like, oh my God, this is not going to happen to me, guess what? You just did that. You just blocked yourself. And because Jupiter is amplifying it, again, positive and negative energy, you could literally make it worse than what it needs to be or what it should be. So please be very mindful about that moving forward, because that's really important. Okay, it is really important to consciously be aware of how you are communicating to others, talking about things that you want, talking about things that you love or care for, because you could literally put yourself in a situation you don't want to be in. just with your mouth, just with your voice, just with like you being able to think something and it just manifest it. So really, really good time to work with the air element. Really great time to work with like incense, work with birds specifically when it comes to not only divination, messages, manifestation, petitions, all that kind of stuff. Air element is going to be the one. Keep in mind the air element is the fastest moving element. Okay, so again, and this is why verbal manifestations, why you saying something literally out of your mouth can block you right away. So just be mindful of that. It's really important to keep yourself like clear throughout the year. Road openings and blockbuster spells are going to be essential throughout the year. I know we do them once a month, but they're really going to come in handy because Gemini, because it's so consciously in the moment, sometimes it gets stuck in some moments and it needs to kind of like move into the next thing, but it's still like pensive about, and this is when we have like the Mercury retrograde energy, right? When we're like still pensive about the past stuff and we need to like release certain things, you're going to need to do those blockbusters, those, you know, releasing the energy, but it's going to amplify Gemini energy in all the things. This is also going to be the year where you could probably get away with more stuff than you would have any other year. And what I mean by that is that Gemini, okay, is the children of the zodiac, right? They're the kids. They get to play and kick and break and do things that adults don't get to do and get away with. Like kids literally get to break stuff and draw on walls and do stuff. You try doing that as an adult, like okay, but it's like that's what Gemini is very, very embodies the energy and that energy of like that childlike energy where they're able to kind of get away with things. Okay, that means that that Jupiter luck energy and you being able to kind of curve something or like avoid something that, you know, oh my god, you just got so lucky, that literally can happen out of like, even if like let's say you did something that you oh my god, maybe you didn't have a bad intention, or you just wanted to try something and it just ended up being like a situation, you might be able to get out of it a lot easier, with the exception of during the retrograde. That's when you might find yourself, you know, not being able to get away with stuff, but you would be able to get away with certain things during Jupiter in Gemini, during the transits, because Gemini tends to be very like you know, like you're not, you know, it's not gonna be like a larger deal, and because it's Jupiter energy, it's just gonna come off as like you just got lucky, but it's just like it's the way that it manifests might be in like, oh my god, I really like, damn, that could have been way worse. So keep that in mind, especially for my Geminis. You literally might just have some ill luck in certain areas with certain things, and because you also have to keep that in mind that Gemini energy embodies the mercurial energy of being a trickster. There is that like you're not really gonna get in trouble if you do something that's like mischievous, and you know, like you're not gonna, you know. The other thing is that creative projects are going to be really big. You might even have a breakthrough this year where whatever it is, that this is a great year for writing. This is a great year for like any type of like music creatively and stuff like that, because it's like the things that you're thinking about, the things that you're bringing into your consciousness are just gonna have a little kick, a little boost of that luck and abundance energy. Also, if you have social media, if you have any type of business, brands, if you're like trying to become an influencer or something like that, this is the year to literally get on an app and just post whatever it is that you want to focus on, because this is the year that it will literally, like, algorithm wise, it's just going to be a little bit of that luck, and things will get amplified. Things like people will be finding you, and you can find your people a lot easier and build a platform so much faster. It's just the year for it. I know there's a lot of things going on when it comes to the government and social media, like with the whole trying to ban TikTok situation. During Jupiter and Gemini, I wish them luck. Anyway, But any of the social media platforms, you'll be able to grow in a really big way. So it's going to be a really great year for those who want to do like any type of connecting to the public or building a community, because Gemini is all about interacting, right? The message has to get to somebody, right? And so it's a really great year to connect with others. So if you have that type of business or focus, this is the time where you're going to need to like rip the band-aid, say, you know what, I'm gonna just start posting, see where it goes. Just see where it goes. Trust me, like it's going to be like your voice will be amplified, it will be supported. This is a year to have that support, like literally the year to have that support. You also might during this year feel like you're getting a lot of very channeled things, like whether it's to talk about certain topics. It's a great time to start a podcast as well, to talk about certain topics, to bring out certain products that people might need, and to talk about the benefits of XYZ and B, to do a lot of focus on education, school. Great time for all of that. Great time to take a course or whatnot. Like really, really great year for that, because you're going to be able to like again have that retention. This is also going to be a great time for any type of spirit work, like especially developing yourself spiritually with your guides, with your ancestors, anything like that. When you try to like communicate with them, even meditations are going to be very clear, very intense. I would make sure you're doing your meditation practice throughout the year. That's just going to help you a lot. Trust me, it's just going to help you a lot. It's just going to be a really, we're gonna be like in our heads a little bit, but we can make it work for our benefit, and that's like the best part, like when you can make it work for you. I'm trying to see if I'm running through all the notes, but I feel like I covered everything as far as like the vibe. I feel like collectively, obviously there's a lot going on when it comes to communication. There's different, there's a lot of propaganda going on. There's a lot of things being miscommunicated on purpose. There's a lot of, social like control, all of that kind of stuff. You're going to be seeing a lot of narratives. Certain things are going to be broken down. You're going to have certain people break down or educate you in certain things that needed to be educated on. And so it's definitely important for you to, be very mindful of where the messages are coming from, because it's not always going to be a spiritual message. Sometimes it's going to be a collective one. Sometimes it's going to be like, so you know what's going on, right? So be very mindful that it's not always going to be like this, like a very, this is a divine message. Sometimes people make spirituality like this is about, it's also your collective experience. So keep that in mind. But yeah, I think I covered everything that I wanted to cover with Jupiter being in Gemini. Take it easy. But sometimes, especially when it goes retrograde, it's gonna feel like a little bit like a Mercury retrograde vibe. Like you will have like the exes hitting you up. You will have all of those kind of things. Yes. But also just keep in mind anything that needs to be clear, especially like if you're doing like you know what, I'm removing all blockages, or I need to do a release of XYZ and B. Certain things might need to be, like the I's need to be dotted and the T's need to be crossed in order for you to move on as well. Gemini is really great energy to work for road openings. Jupiter is a road opening planet. Like really great time to really clear up, be mentally clear, open up your roads, because when Jupiter goes into Cancer next year, it's going to be great for nourishment, and it's exalted in Cancer. So this is going to be a great time for spiritual work, like spiritual growth on a monumental level. I really looking forward to Jupiter going to Cancer, because your girl's Jupiter is in Cancer in the 11th house. So I already know all the work that we're going to be doing next year. Oh, we'll talk about it when we get there. But this year is going to be really, really an incredible year to work with. But for those who are, like feeling like they're on the low end of like, oh my God, I just feel like da da da. Understand it is in detriment. Okay. You have to make it work for you as well. Use the energy as you need. Make sure you're actively working with the energy too, because Gemini energy sometimes gets wasted with some people. Some people like be having all these types of abilities and gifts, and they just don't even, they use the party side of Gemini energy, the friendship side, like, oh, I have so much friends, I like to have fun, like, because Gemini is a really fun side, right? It's very childlike. So you're gonna have fun this year. There is that energy of having fun, but also understand that there's also other stuff happening. Okay, anyway, I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. I will see you guys in the next one. Have a very blessed day.